Hey guys, what's up? As you can tell from the title of this video, it's about my paramilitary 2. For a while I had gotten rid of all my paramilitary 2s, and I seem to have gone back to them. The reason is it's just a perfect knife. For those of you that have them, you know that it's a great carry knife, very thin. Here it is next to my Blur. If you notice, they're about the same size. Now, the paramilitary 2 feels a lot lighter than the Blur because it is, and a lot of that has to do with the skeletonized liner inside, the steel liner or the steel frame. This one is all aluminum with the inlays, and it is a heavy knife. Now the two paramilitary 2 that I have here is all blacked out version and the satin blade with the satin clip. These two are probably the most, the black one is very sought after. This one is probably the most common, and I hope to get every variation. Like I said, I did have them at one time, and I did get rid of them, and I'm not sure why I did that. Mostly because I believe it was because I was getting into frame locks, and I just thought that maybe this was more of a beginner knife. But now that I've had a lot of knives in hand, I'm starting to realize that it is a perfect EDC. And honestly, I prefer to carry these over some of my frame locks. I do have the Spyderco Southern and the Spyderco Domino, which I love. They're great knives. They're a lot of fun to play with. But when it comes down to it, for an overall EDC package, you can't beat these. Now, there's a couple of sprint runs out there that I tried to get in on, and it wasn't successful. And now, if you go on eBay or the aftermarket, you're gonna pay premium money for those. So I think I'm just going to go ahead and wait until they come out. I don't think I'll be selling these anytime soon. These are two pretty good examples of the Para 2. Now, one of the things that you have to worry about when getting a paramilitary 2 is the blade centering. I find that not all Para 2s are centered, and more often than not, you're going to have issues. Even if you get a paramilitary 2 that is centered in the beginning, I find that after time, after flicking, as the pivot loosens, you also lose that centering on it. It's not a big deal to me as long as it's not rubbing, but if it is noticeably off center, it does bug me enough that I try to tweak it and fix it. Luckily, there's a lot of videos on YouTube that explain to you how to get that centering back online, at least for a little bit until you start playing with it. Now, this one still hasn't been broken in very well. I use this one for work. I carry it almost every day. So on the way to work, I'm flicking it open and close, so hopefully that'll work in. I've noticed that the ones with the satin blade tend to be a little smoother. I imagine that's because of the coating versus non-coating. A couple of the ones I had before were super smooth, so I do regret getting rid of them. There's a couple of guys out there probably watching now that have them when I sold them, and I think you have a really good knife out there. I do miss those knives, so here they are again. I do hope to get the other two variants, which is the Digicam Black and Digicam Satin. Those are definitely on my list, and I'll probably be getting rid of some of my other knives that I have, in my collection, only because I don't carry them, and I really think it's a waste. Also, I did get rid of my Strider, my double gunner grip, so I'm hoping to pick up another Strider. So I'll probably be having a sale sometime soon. I know not everyone's fond of the sale videos. If you're not, just don't click on it. The reason I have my Izzy Usula out there is because of the size comparison. I think this is pretty much the ideal size for me. The only thing I have to knock the Para 2 on is the way it rides a little high on the pocket. It could ride a little lower, and there's a lot of aftermarket. They just look ugly. A lot of aftermarket clips. They just look ugly in my opinion. And I really don't feel confident enough to modify this clip. I don't have the tools necessary to flip it. I've seen a lot of mods done out there where they pretty much bend it and make it into a low. This same clip gets made into a low right clip, but it does require some modification, which I don't feel confident doing. So anyway, here it is next to the Easy Azula. The Easy Azula is a little smaller, but just to give you an idea, this is pretty much a great EDC size. Also good for tactical use. The blade is very pointy, very sharp in the tip. something you have to worry about if you're going to use it for utility. I really can't say anything about the Para 2 that hasn't been said already. If you don't have a Para, chances are you're probably trying to get a Para 2. They're very difficult to get right now, and when they do come out, they're sold very fast. I always keep my eye out on Blade HQ. If not, I end up going to eBay. And as you know, with eBay, you are taking a chance. Especially now with so many clones out there, it's one of the things you really have to be careful about. There's a lot of telltale signs. One of them is the milling out of the liners. If they're not milled out, chances are it's a clone. The other thing to look for is the jimping. As you can see here, the jimping here is very nice, very fine, and very uniform. I think that's one of the other things. The biggest telltale sign is going to be the rounding off here on this little relief for your finger to get in there to release the compression lock. If it's sharp and squared off on these edges, then you know you got a clone. Other than that, guys, believe me, I've seen some clones up close. I'm not going to say they're not worth the money, because obviously I'm paying $17 or $20 for a clone, something you're going to use every day, is not a big deal, as long as you don't try to pass it off as a Spyderco Paramilitary 2, which they are, which is wrong. Anyway, really, I can't say anything more about the Para 2 that millions of people haven't said already on YouTube. I just love it, and I am going back to it. So look for possibly some pretty good deals. For those of you that subscribe to Tropic EDC, you'll know that he recently had got rid of some knives, and he always has awesome deals, and he always gets rid of his stuff really quickly. That's what I'm hoping to do. I'm probably going to give the knives a really big discount to try to get rid of them as soon as possible. There's nothing wrong with these knives, not these in particular, but the other knives I'm going to get rid of. There's nothing wrong with them. They're great knives, and I have enjoyed them. It's just personally, I want to get back to the Para 2s and get the whole collection here. Maybe get in on some sprint runs. The other knife that I've been trying to get that's been kind of hard to get a hold of is the Dodo, the Spyderco Dodo in carbon fiber. If anyone out there has one and would be willing to trade or sell, let me know. I'm thinking possibly getting rid of my my Spyderco Domino. It's a great knife. It's everything everyone says it is. I just don't see myself carrying it. I prefer the Southern myself, as my last video showed, and I just feel that I probably won't be carrying it a lot. It's brand new condition. I probably carried once or twice, probably twice, and I have flicked it out a lot. But as you know, there's a steel liner in there, and I mean a steel insert on the lock bar, and it hasn't moved at all. So anyway, that's one of the ones I was thinking about selling. The other one was maybe my Sabenza. So if you're interested in that, maybe just keep a lookout. I'll also be listing on Instagram, but for sure coming back to YouTube. I do enjoy watching the knife reviews on YouTube, so maybe I'll come back and start making some more reviews. I just haven't really gotten anything new. I would like to get my Strider back, possibly the concealed carry in green with the hollow blade. All right, guys. Hope you got something out of this. If nothing else, just looking at some Para 2s and some knife porn, and with an ammo background. All right, guys. Have a good day, and shout out to Tropic EDC. That guy has a great channel. If you haven't subscribed to him, you might want to go check him out. Take care.